So this is the second part. So by repeating that process, by going again and again to that tree, you will start establishing a process of relationship with it, and it will start giving you information. It will start helping you. It might introduce you to other beings, but to start with, you will start receiving help, maybe from this space you have created where you express yourself and you receive information. You'll start opening up that contraction a little bit, and new information as how you can proceed with regards to your suffering will start coming. Or you might be guided also to various people. Of course, exercise your judgment, observe, but you might be drawn to certain practices, and that also, if this happens in a synchronistical way, that is also part of the process. It doesn't necessarily have to be light coming down from the sky for it to be help and information and adequate information. It might even guide you to someone who's got another brick in that kind of edifice to help you. For me, this happened, for example, with very severe back issues years ago, and I had an intuition to look into certain martial arts that didn't really have to do apparently with healing, but I had one day just one very specific information, a couple of words, and I looked it up on the internet, and how is this going to help me with this 8 months unbearable pain, constant pain. In this case there was a very severe herniated disc for a second time in my life, and I looked it up on the internet. So I do use also modern tools. It doesn't necessarily come down from the sky. And the next day I found something linked to that martial art that had there was a healing, completely unknown to me, that had a healing practice similar to some forms of Qigong. And I found that in the city I was in, which was Paris at the time, on the following weekend, which was about 3 or 4 days after my finding information, there was a course, a weekend course by someone who didn't live in Paris, and he was there. And so I went. I didn't have money or anything, and I went. I took the underground or metro, and I went there, and I said, I don't know why I'm here. I don't have any money, but I'm in a really difficult situation and a lot of suffering, physical suffering. Can you help me? And he said, of course, and come, and you don't have to pay the course. And this was a very high level person. So thanks to him. I may mention this later, but I listened to certain information and I went with it, and from a place of listening, and I found something that helped me heal in 4 to 6 months, which was a lot of work, but was exactly what I needed, and it was no work at all compared to the situation I was in. So it might come in that way. Of course, exercise your judgment, don't start, but things might come. Definitely information and help will come. And in the process, you also establish, and which is, in my opinion, the main thing, you'll establish a relationship and a friendship with that tree. So you're not just going there to get information from that tree, you are establishing a relationship. That's possibly for another video. I'm speaking here for people who are in a lot of difficulty and suffering. And what is your first step? And this is really the basis of an animistic relationship, so animism, if you want to call it that way. So establishing a relationship with the beings of nature and all around you, and the spirits of nature, really, because that's what it's about. I want this to be a really simple video and go not too much into shamanism and the spirit aspect of it, but this is what it is. You're establishing a relationship with the spirit of a being in nature. The process is so simple that most people overlook that this process is what underlies shamanism. And I will do a video about the differences between animism and shamanism, and in many cases people aspire to shamanism, but what they're really looking for, expressing, is an animistic relationship, you know, a relationship of friendship with the living world. So this is a very, very simple process. In this process, you've established in a very, very simple way, a ritual space. So this is the beginning of ritual, because by making your offering, recognizing there's a being there, asking for its help, and listening, you're establishing a ritual space. You're creating that space. By thanking at the end, you are also closing, but not completely, and I will follow up on that, ritual space. You're closing that ritual space for the time being. But what is important afterwards is you continue listening. So you are opening and closing a ritual space, and something is happening in that ritual space. The process, I will try to really make it simple, is go open a space, establish a first contact, speak with your heart, speak everything you have in your heart, express it, then listen, and that's a key element. It's the same thing really as you could say certain forms of meditation, not exactly, but this is the process in shamanism. You create a ceremony and you listen. You engage the spirits in order to effect a healing, but you listen. If you're simply doing, you're doing your own thing. You're not listening. And what we're looking for is for wider information, tuition from the spirits of nature. So you listen, and then you thank for that relationship you're starting to establish, and then you will keep listening. So whatever emotions are present in the days, hours, days, weeks, let it flow. Don't judge the emotions you have, even if there's sadness. I mean, everyone around is telling you shouldn't be sad, you should be angry, or whatever. Experience it, express it. It doesn't mean if you're angry, express it by beating up whatever person is there. That's not what I mean, because you are receiving things in yourself. Yes, you are receiving things in yourself. That is very different from expressing it in a random way and causing damage to yourself and others, really. So listen, experience those emotions. If they're really intense, go again and say, this is what I'm experiencing now. It has shifted to this, and this is what I'm experiencing. And offer that also to that tree or place and say, this is where I am. And so you are evolving with its help, and you are listening. You might have other feelings and intuitions or images or sensations during your time with the tree, or even afterwards. and eventually you are creating movement in what you are experiencing it. You're unburdening yourself and you're offering it also to nature to recycle. So you're not just dumping stuff, you're asking nature to recycle it and give you enough space within yourself to receive help and healing. This is a very simple video to give you very basic approach. I hope it's helpful to all of you, and I wish you a good journey with that. And I'll come back soon with another video. Okay, blessings to you all.